Everybody, it's Katie the Angel that says fuck, and I wanted to read a passage from the Little Book of Saturn about the function of Saturn return and what Saturn is in general and what it feels like. From this book, the way Aliza explains it is lovely. And I also want you to apologize for my towel on my head. My hair is still wet, and it's not quite ready to be taken down, but I'm ready to make this video, and I don't think you care too much. Okay, so this goes with my blog post that's up right now. It's probably hyperlinked in there, right? So we'll talk. I cover that, my experience with it, but this is what it is. Saturn is the principle of growing up and growing older. Saturn symbolizes aging in time. Father Time is Father Saturn. Saturn does not let us stay flailing in childhood or young adulthood a moment later than we need to. We must learn how to tie our shoes, pay our bills, learn the proper way to boil an egg, to handle difficult people. Or maybe we ourselves are the difficult ones. We have to learn these skills, learn the rules of life, what to do, how to do it, in order best to survive. Saturn doesn't want us to be taken care of. Saturn wants us to fend for ourselves, and many of us still don't know how to act our age, despite our human years. Finally, I've learned how to make the perfect hard-boiled egg, although I have to look up the instructions, she says. Good enough, Saturn says. The first Saturn return comes around the age 28. See chapter 6 for more details. And in order to do that, you have to buy the book. And because I'm not going to read it for you. And then if we live long enough, we get 2 more. So our first starts around the age 28. Those were some rocky times. The turbulence leading up to it was interesting. Okay. I'm sorry I digress. The first Saturn return comes around age 28, and then if we live long enough, we get 2 more. Each Saturn return is a bridge to another world, a world called more knowledge. With its capital city, more work. Whether you use a romantic word like bridge or gate, or a witchy word like crossroads or portal, the one thing is clear. With each year, Saturn has more to teach us, and yet the lessons are eerily the same. Grow up. When I was a kid, or even as an adult, immature was one of the worst things you could call someone. It certainly is from Saturn's point of view. Don't be a baby. Saturn says at his meanest. Don't be a baby. Do something. My bad. Don't be a baby, Saturn says at his meanest. Do you want to make Saturn angry? Do something you would have done 10 or 20 years ago and then cry about it. But what does it really mean to grow up? One word, responsibility. Saturn requires we take responsibility for who we are, what we say, what we do. It's just what grown-ups do. Saturn also prefers we make wiser and more mature decisions as we go. But no matter what we choose, Saturn, as the grown-up principle, is all about not blaming others for our mistakes or for our successes. If we did it, then we must own it. We may not like it. We may feel ashamed or guilty. We may have chosen wrongly. I know I have. But we are our behavior, says Saturn. We are our actions, and that is the key to growing up. Responsibility and accountability. Wisdom, however, is more than just mere growing up, and that's another Saturn keyword related to aging and time. It's where we are ultimately supposed to get with Saturn. It's the last stop on the Saturn train. Wisdom is more than logic and more than intuition and emotional IQ. It's a combination of these, plus our years on this planet. Wisdom is the result of everything you've seen and done, experienced, or witnessed. You've learned everything Saturn had to teach you, and now, only now, you can teach others. Saturn represents this stretch of land from immaturity and childhood to mastery of our fears and our life path, of our duty, of our growing up. That explains it perfectly. So that concludes the best explanation of a Saturn and Saturn return that I could ever give you by this book, though. The whole thing is phenomenal.